Well, hey everyone, welcome back. Today I wanted to talk about camera supports and what I used when I was starting out vlogging, and maybe I can give you some pointers on where you might want to go, and maybe you can give me some pointers too, because I have kind of reached a certain point where the evolution of my thought processes have kind of stopped. So if anybody has any other tips or any other further information that they'd love to share, I'd love to hear it. Okay, this is kind of a not so much a teaching moment, but it's more of an interacting moment, I hope, where we can all kind of help each other. So let's get right to it. Okay, now when I've been a photographer for several decades. I started in New York. Well, actually, I started a long time ago. I started charging when we moved in New York. Moved to New York. I went to the School of Visual Arts and Parsons School of Design, and that's where I started my photography life. Also, while we were in Manhattan in the '90s, that's also when I worked for Eastern Mountain Sports, and I worked for them for the entire decade of the '90s, and becoming an assistant manager there. So that's my outdoor retail background. Oh, I also managed a ski shop for 10 years after that. But my photography background is just as old and deep as my backpacking background. How's that one? So, back in the '90s, there wasn't much going on as far as carbon fiber. That still was pretty rare. Aluminum was still king. And I did actually, this is my very first large Gitzo tripod, 4 sections. It's quite big, quite heavy. The Gitzo floppy head. Um, the last time I weighed it, I think it was about 8 pounds, 7 or 8 pounds. I try not to hike with that anywhere at all anymore. I went from that down to a little aluminum job like this. This is by Slick, and this with the newer ball head with the quick release plate. The whole thing is 3 pounds. So it's a lot easier to carry than this big 7 pounder or eight. But still, it's pretty heavy. So when I was starting off with the whole web channel, YouTube channel, things like that, I wanted something much lighter. So I found this on, of course, Amazon. It's a kind of a little tripod like that, and this is where the quick release remote used to go. That lives in here. It only worked like once or twice, and so threw that out. So you've got a little tripod and not too bad of a base, not very big, no adjustment here, no adjustments in the legs, very basic, excuse me, very basic. But what you do have are these different sections. And so if I was standing there, this would be a little over waist height, I suppose, maybe up to my chest, something like that. Extremely wobbly, not at all secure. Um, there is a sort of an adjustable head here. You can rotate it back and forth and gives you a little bit of articulation, but frankly, it's lacking in just about every way you can measure it. It did get me started. Oh, another thing too, it kept slipping out of my little pouch in my backpack. I dropped this and had to go back several miles for it one time, one trip. But it got me started and it got me thinking about things. A lot of a lot of negatives on this, but it got me started. So what can you say? But it is light and it is pretty small. It's not even a pound, I think. So that's pretty good. What I went to after that was another thing from Amazon. Now this is actually a light stand, um, but what I like about it is you loosen this here, and then these. Watch this. Flips this way. Yeah. Okay. So you've got basically this huge base. You tighten it here. Now this thing is really sturdy. It's all aluminum. So, another problem, but then these go up quite high. This I think will top off at about 7 feet. And then you have a threaded piece up here that you would then take like one of these universal ball head things here. Take it off this other tripod. Okay, so this is a little mini ball head. Again, I've got 2 or 3 of these that I bought on Amazon, and you just pay attention to. It's tough to figure out how big it's going to be, but you pay attention to the base diameter, the height, and the load capacity. And what you do then is you can get a couple of them that are. This is a little bit heavier duty. I have one that's a little bit lighter duty. That's what's holding the camera right now, the phone. So I have a couple of these. So that you would screw that on here and then take your phone bracket, one of these guys, and then screw that on up there. And that way you can make up for the fact that these don't have any way to level the legs. That's one of the big drawbacks of this system is that these legs they all come out the same way, and there's no way to individually adjust the length of them. So you really need some kind of articulated ball head at this end to keep your camera or phone level. Because, very often it could literally be like this, and you need to keep it like that, right? So you need the ball head. So this was okay. Another even worse problem with that, and also with the first thing that I showed you, these are both aluminum. So what happens when you touch it against a stick or a rock or a root or your foot or any one of the million things that you're going to be walking over, around, and through when you're out on the woods? All those noises transmit right from that leg all the way up the shaft and all the way to your recording device. Whether it's your phone, whether it's a camera, this aluminum is going to be sending those vibrations your way. So, yeah, not so good. So, is that it? Okay, as far as that goes. But it's still, when it's folded up, relatively compact, and it's great to have if you want to have, say, your GoPro or your Insta360. That's what I use this for, my 360. And you want to have it like 7 or 8 feet up in the air when you're out, also filming other things. It's a good thing. But there's something better, and this is the bigger brother, and this is all carbon. So the great thing about carbon is that it deadens the vibrations. The vibrations do not travel through this thing. You can bang that you'd hear, but your general rustling and whatnot, you wouldn't really hear that. So that's a really good thing. This opens the same way. I was hoping this was a little smaller. If it was smaller, it'd be a lot more valuable to a backpacker. As it is right now, I have used it a few times, but it's just too big. But I do use it occasionally in the studio if I need, like, by the way these feet go, sometimes you can put this where a different kind of light stand just wouldn't fit. So that's what I like this for. And also with these things here, and then these are all, then you just tighten that, just like on a tripod. And this also goes up to like 7 or 8 feet. So it's really usable for a lot of things, but not the best for an active hiking camera support. It's it's okay, but not the best. It does have the screw on, the 1/4 20 thread up here. You can put all of your accessories on it, your ball heads and your brackets, and basically this could support a light camera. Um, you know, it, saying light with a short lens. If you get a great big, this is a tiny little thing here. This is tiny. It's not going to support, you know, your 100 to 400, zoom on your professional body. It's just not going to not going to hold it. It's not going to work. For a tiny little, like my R50V, this would work on that. Your phone, your little point and shoot cameras. This is fine for that. You don't need a big heavy tripod. Um, but it's still not perfect. So what I ended up doing was a hybrid. It's a kind of a Franken support. This, let's see. Okay, this is my original Gitzo tripod from about 1990, 91. When we first got to New York, we didn't have any money, and this was Christmas, and my wife got me this She knew I wanted a Gitzo, and even this was pretty expensive. But I've had this since the early 90s. It's a full-featured, very basic tripod. It's for tabletop. What I like about it is I extend these legs, and you get a much wider base. It's much more stable. It's relatively light. I can take, okay, so that's the base. It's the little baby Gitzo. I can also, this is the selfie stick for my Insta360. So that goes on here. Check this out. So now I can go about 5-6 feet up. This will go up a little bit. These go out a little bit. This goes up pretty high, almost high enough that I can do a monologue in front of it. But I do have to kind of squat. I have to kind of squat just a little bit so I could fit into frame. But then you can fit the ball head on top and the camera, the phone bracket. I have also used this for my R50V with a short lens. Take off the camera, the phone bracket. Now you've got a tiny mini ball head, and just screw the camera right onto that. The R50 is a really lightweight little camera, and I have a little Sigma lens on it, the 10 to 18 lens. So altogether they weigh a pound, something like that. So something like this could handle that. Again, my R6 Mark II with my 24-70 2.8, no, that's not going to work on this at all. Or my 70 to 200 millimeter f2.8, no, that's not going to work at all on this. But for certain things, it's okay. Another thing too, if you are going to use these kind of supports, no matter what they are, no matter who makes them, when they get really skinny like this, you'll see it. It's like moving back and forth like this. I'm holding it midway, so really it's just these 2 or 3 sections right in here that are flexing. And look at that, right? I mean, that's ridiculous. So you really, this is not great either. What you really would have to do, and I do, is push this down so the shaft here is much thicker, a lot more resistant to flexing, and a lot more stable. If you're going to do video and you want a stable platform, you really still don't want it moving. I mean, it'll be a small amount, probably. This depends on the wind. But if you're doing still shots, especially if you're doing a long exposure, if this thing is flexing around like that, let's say you've got a gusty winds on a mountaintop, or and you want to do a half a second exposure or something like that, forget it. It's not coming out. If you want to do waterfalls, I experienced this personally. Just at the base of Looking Glass Falls, there was a lot of wind down there from the water, and just basically none of those shots came out when this thing was extended. It moved just enough. If you're doing a 1-second exposure, any kind of movement's going to ruin it, and none of those shots came out. So, and I saw the camera moving. I knew they weren't going to come out, but I was kind of, it was like one of those things where it was like there really wasn't anywhere else I could go or anything else I could do. So I just kind of did multiple exposures, see if any of them came out. None of them did. Luckily, I had enough coverage from other things to make up for it. But it taught me a lesson. These things just are not that trustworthy especially when they're extended. So for best use, you may want to, collapse it as far down as you can, so it's really only just barely above the ground, but at least it holds your camera in position. So that's it, really. That's my talk for the stationary things. Oh, you know what? This isn't really stationary. I shouldn't say that. The reason why I really like it is that I can do both. I can I carry it like this as a selfie stick, basically. And so when I want to, I can just pull this out and I can get nice coverage behind me, put it right back in there like that. If I see a scene that I really like while I'm hiking, boom, I just take this out, open the legs. Of course, I would open them more usually. And then just put this up, and I've got the phone in it already. So if I want to get like a really great shot of sunset or whatever's happening in front of me, I can just zip, zip, zip. And I had this set up in mere moments, as they say. So it's stationary, but it's also a really good mobile device. So that's why I like it. It's more mobile than stationary, but it does stationary pretty adequately. Um, but this is the thing where I've come to kind of the end of my evolutionary uh, journey, I think, with this. So if anyone does have a better idea than this, or a better product, or whatever, I'd really love to hear it, because as much as I like this and as good as it is, um, I'm just the type that I just know that there's something better out there. I just haven't figured it out yet. So if anybody else has, hey, drop a line. Okay, so that's it for those kind of things. Basically, that's it for today. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you got some fun out of it and some information out of it, and hope to see you next time down the trail. Okay, all right, catch you later.